Hello and welcome. I am your host Grant Johnson from Red News, and I'm here with our founder and chief executive officer John Hernandez. How are you doing today, John?
Oh, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I have a couple questions for you, and would and here's the first questions for you, if you don't mind me asking them.
Okay.
Since establishing Red News, has it grown to the expectations you have viewed it upon when you first established it and everything like that?
Yes. So when we first started back in 2000 and I would say 2000, about 2020, but we didn't really get started 2021. So I say that we grew a lot. As you know, when we first started, Grant, you was with us since day one. You know, and when we first started, we didn't have no broadcasts, we didn't have no video, we didn't have no YouTube, anything like that. We didn't have the much employees as we do now. Um, as we continue to grow, this year is when we really met our goals and stuff like that, just like every other year. But next year we are aiming to hit our goal even more. We are planning on to launch our first mobile app, which that's still being in develop. It might be delayed, depends how everything goes. And then we also have goals to continue to expand into other countries.
Yeah, that's very much excellent. The thing is here's an additional question for you, John. Is what's your favorite part about being the founder and chief executive officer of Red News? How would you describe your thoughts of being a chief executive officer?
As being a chief executive officer and founder of Red News, it is extremely difficult sometimes. You got to make some tough decisions, and it affects your employees. Then you always have to come up with ideas how to continue to grow. And it comes down to time management. And like for me, I like to do a lot of things that I can't do. Why? Because I have a business to run. And I put my business first, and that's what if you want to do something in life, that's what you got to do. You got to put your mind to it, and you got to actually associate yourself with the right people too, and you got to put your mind into the right work too. If that answers your question.
All right. Here's an additional question for you that I think our listeners will enjoy and find interesting. But for people that you look up to, who do you inspired by to be in business and run Red News, if you don't mind me asking?
My motivation is Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett, as you know, he's the most successful investor of all time, and he just tells you how it is. How life. It's not easy. If you just sit there and expect things to be coming to you, that's not how it works. You gotta lose sleep sometimes, and you gotta put in the effort to make your goals succeed.
Oh, absolutely. For here's a question for what you think makes Red News special. Like, among the other news platforms, what would you say, in your words, makes Red News stand out?
Well, as our employees likes it, that they can actually talk to the chief executive officer and founder of the company. Most of the big media like Fox News and NBC News and etc., they don't talk to the chief executive officer a lot. That person sends an email, and that's it. No, I call the employees when I want something done or when I want them to do something like that. And another thing is, you don't see a lot of them use AI. We actually use AI a lot here at Red News, which AI, it's a new technology that we still exploring. But Red News is putting AI to work too, to make sure that it's easy for employees too.
Yes. Here's my final question for you today, John. Is there any special message that you want the listeners of the Red News podcast and our audience more broadly?
I want to say, if you want to do something, make sure you have the right people around you to do it. Make sure you associate yourself with the right people. It's a lot of fake people out there, that would talk bad, talk behind your back and stuff like that. Trust me, I can see when they talk bad, behind my back. I know they do. But me, what I do is I ignore it, and I just, put my success into work. I put my goals into work. So you're always going to have doubters in life that don't like what you do or don't, take you seriously. Well, guess what? You got to prove them wrong. Because you know why? They're just not happy that they're not in the game as you are. That's it.
You heard it here, folks. Thank you for joining today's podcast recording, John, and thank you to you, the listeners, for listening to the Red News Official Podcast. You can support the Red News Official Podcast on Patreon and can listen to this podcast across different podcast platforms. You can also follow Red News on different social media platforms. For more Red News, you can go to the Red News website and read up on articles. Thank you for listening to the Red News Official Podcast. Take care.